And if you've ever had risotto from a restaurant, you probably haven't had a real risotto. It has to be served immediately. That's the only thing that's tricky about it. That's not gonna happen at a restaurant. The creamy amazingness comes from the starch that's slowly released as you cook the rice. So your homemade version is gonna be amazing. Hey, I'm John Kanell, author of Preppy Kitchen, Recipes for Seasonal Dishes and Simple Pleasures, and today I'm in the Food 52 kitchen making a delicious Sunchoke fried sage risotto. We're gonna get started by getting some good chicken broth and making it even better. I'm gonna add this into a medium pot right now, spilling as little as I can in somebody else's kitchen. One sprig of fresh sage will infuse a lot of flavor, and your Parmesan rinds. Do not throw these away. You can keep them in the freezer if you don't have use for them, but these will make your soups delicious. I'm gonna place this over medium-high heat. What if this was not a real stove? No. This will come to a boil and will reduce to a simmer so it infuses with tons of flavor. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish the prep on these Sunchokes. You're not going to peel this, you're gonna give it a good scrub. The skin is fine to eat, just get any stuff that's not the skin right off. Two of the knobbier ones, those are gonna be thinly sliced and fried. Golden brown, crispy and amazing. If you're at the market, you might see these as Jerusalem artichokes, that's the other name. These are the roots for sunflowers. Light should pass through. I could read through it almost. This has all the artichoke vibes I love, but I find the prep to be so much easier and it can go into all different kinds of dishes really easily. You can fry them and sprinkle them on salads. Just experiment with it and let us know in the comments what you like to use them for. For the remaining pound, we're just gonna dice this into small pieces, like maybe half an inch big. Just don't feel like it has to look perfect. As long as the pieces are roughly the same size, they'll all cook evenly and everything will be delicious. My broth has come to a boil. Now, in a large Dutch oven, I'm gonna add about a quarter cup of olive oil. I'm gonna fry the sage now. You'll know your olive oil's ready when it's dancing and shimmering in the pan. I'm gonna fry the first 4 leaves. There we go. You'll see them turn a beautiful emerald color right away. Just move them around if they're overlapping. They're gonna turn brown as the water is removed from them, then they're really gonna crisp up. Should be about 30 to 45 seconds, maybe even 60, it depends on your heat. Frying sage leaves in batches takes the stress away because if they stay too long, they turn brown and bitter and you don't want that. Use a slotted spoon to remove them onto a paper towel lined plate. Next up, we have the Sunchoke slices. Carefully add our Sunchoke slices in, and these are gonna fry for about 5 minutes until they're crispy and golden. Just move them around so they're all in the oil. One of the reasons that you would definitely want to use a Dutch oven for this step is to prevent splatters of oil from getting you. Everything is hitting the walls here. I'm totally fine, and you will be too. If you do this in a low pan, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a train wreck, so just don't do that. Food safety matters. I was at the market and just tired of the normal vegetables that I would go through, like cauliflower, zucchini, carrots, broccoli, asparagus. I wanted something new. You turn to turnips? Maybe not for you, but I found the Sunchokes and I got so excited when I remembered that artichoke flavor that I love. So I started incorporating them into different dishes, and the one that I thought it worked so well that I included it in the fall chapter of my cookbook was as a risotto. Just the texture of something affects how you taste it. You're gonna taste the Sunchokes in 2 different ways. These ones are gonna be crispy, golden, crunchy, and delicious. Move your Sunchokes around occasionally, and if you see any super paper thin ones that are golden right away, pull them out so they don't get burnt. This is not a deep fry, it's a pan fry, and you need to flip them over. You'll see them becoming golden brown on the outside, but if you don't flip them, they'll be burnt on one side and raw on the other. Right now, I'm smelling these Sunchokes, which are giving like really good potato chip vibes, I'll say. They will continue to get a little bit more golden as time goes on. I'm so proud of myself for not using my fingers to dip one out because I kept wanting to give myself an assist. That'd be a trip to the burn town. A little sprinkle of fine sea salt right over these guys, over the sage too, I like that. It's time to add 2 tablespoons of butter right into your olive oil without any splashes. Let the butter melt into the olive oil, give it a couple stirs, and then these Sunchokes are gonna go in and get softened up. Add your Sunchokes in. I'm gonna stir frequently until they're softened and slightly translucent. You're gonna stir these occasionally for about 10 minutes, but it totally depends on your cooktop. These sunchokes look lovely, and I've been pressing with my spoon just to see if they yield. They're yielding. It's time to add in our other ingredients. So 1 large shallot, minced in. Shallots are like the more elegant sister of an onion. They give you all that flavor, but less of the bite, as well as our garlic. And if you want to go a little bit heavier than 4 cloves, I feel you, and you can do that. I measure garlic with my heart. This will cook for about 5 minutes until you see the sunchoke starting to brown. So keep an eye on it and just stir frequently so that none of the garlic burns. I almost forgot something, and that would be 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. So let's add that in. Nice sprinkle. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. Freshly cracked black pepper. These guys are just taking on a brown color. Everything is softened up. So now we're gonna add in our rice. And this is the important star ingredient. Today I'm using arboro rice. It's the most common rice that you can find at the market that's well suited for risotto. Add the 1.5 cups of rice in right now. We're gonna cook, stirring occasionally for about 2 minutes or until it takes on a more golden color, and you're gonna smell some like wonderful things happening. And if you're wondering like why these rices are better than the normal like basmati or long grain rice that you would use in your everyday cooking, it has to do with the rice shape and the starch. These guys will just give you a dish where the starch is released and not held by the rice. And what that does is give you a creamy, luscious, silky risotto where your rice doesn't fall apart. If you use normal rice, the rice will get mushy and fall apart because the starch is held inside. My rice is mostly translucent, it's taking on that color, and it's time to add in 1/2 cup of a nice white wine. I'm using a Sauvignon Blanc, but you could use your favorite. Let the alcohol cook off, the flavor will remain. Alcohol will also give you an emulsifier for the fats. So instead of like the fat just like sitting in a layer, the alcohol will help emulsify it into a beautiful sauce. It won't just be separated. 1 ladle, we're gonna add about 1 cup of this stock in at a time. It's so important that you kept your stock hot. So it has to be a hot stock that'll get absorbed really quickly. Add this in, stir frequently or constantly until it's totally absorbed or evaporated, and then continue with the rest. About 1 cup at a time. Depending on the cooktop you're using, this could take anywhere from 1/2 hour to 45 minutes. So at first, the stock's absorbed and evaporates instantly, but as you add more, it takes a little bit of time for it to continue getting absorbed deeper into the rice. This is the part that would never happen at a restaurant because they have to get plates out really quickly, and you can't have a made-to-order risotto that's cooked, as this step just takes a little bit of time. If you're wondering, why are you stirring? Can't you just leave it alone like you'd leave rice alone? Well, rice is cooking in water, so the water is easily absorbed. If you just poured this on, even if you just poured it on a ladleful at a time and waited, the bottom would burn. It would not be releasing the starch. It's tumbling the rice together. It's releasing the starch into the liquid that is not absorbed. So we're getting a nice even cook. Right now, I'm in the Food 52 kitchen in New York, but at my kitchen in Connecticut, I have these big windows and I can see the seasons change. So every day, something is different. I was inspired to write a cookbook and organize it by the seasons. This is in the fall chapter, I believe, but it's one of those things that I love having all year round. I really love cozy, hearty dishes. And if you're making this at home, by the way, and you get to the point where all the liquid's gone, but you give it a taste and you're like, oh, this is like just not quite there yet, I would microwave some water and just add in hot water until it's ready. You'll know the risotto's done when you take a taste, and in my humble opinion, it should be a little bit toothy like an al dente pasta, not mushy. If you overdo it, it'll like lose some of the magic and get kind of gummy. So you really want to call it quits as soon as it's done. This tastes done to me. I'm removing it from heat and stirring in 3/4 of a cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Ooh, a beautiful cloud of cheese. It's melted, it looks amazing. Now it's time to plate it up and make some magic happen with garnishes. You really want to enjoy this immediately. That's when it has that magical flavor and texture. We're topping our risotto with our sliced fried sunchokes, golden, crispy, and beautiful, and our emerald green fried sage. These crispy elements on top give you a wonderful contrast. So you have a little crunch, a little silky, buttery amazingness, and together they make some magic happen. I'm gonna taste this. Who made this wonderful recipe? So full of flavor. The Sunchokes are shining through. They're giving that lovely flavor along with the shallots and everything else. It's just coming together so nicely. It's like a symphony of amazingness. I hope you get a chance to try this recipe. You can get the recipe in the cookbook or on food52.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.